Hello, welcome to Breakaway with Dawn and Friends. I have Claudia today. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, Don. Nice to see you. Nice to hear you. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. I say it a lot, but I really mean it. I appreciate you giving me your time and joining me. And you do this out of the kindness of your heart. You serve people all day long, and you still get on here when I ask and you record with me. So I just want to say again, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Of course, my pleasure to be here, Don.
Thank you.
It's not
So
a task or anything. I enjoy being here and having these
I love
conversations
that.
with
No,
you.
honestly,
Yeah.
I do appreciate that, but yeah. Anyways, I want you to know how much it means to me,
Thank you.
and when I go deep and when I want to talk about something that really affects me, I love having the conversations with you. So
Thank you, Don.
I'm going to do my best to stick to the facts
Okay.
and less of my opinions and my emotions.
Yes.
And I'm really curious, what you think, and I'm just gonna go there. So obviously, it's been a while since we've recorded, and as always, these conversations for me serve two purposes. One, it's therapeutic for me, right? And so that's where you and I connect, right?
Mhm.
And then this is also for my children. One day when they're older, I hope they're going to come back and listen and understand not only what I went through, but how I tried to navigate difficult situations and what lessons I took and learned from them, right? So, with that said, I want to talk about a recent experience we had. And this surrounds my daughter's graduation. And it left me reflecting on family dynamics, emotional intelligence, boundaries, and how to handle disappointment. You ready for
Okay.
that?
Yes, I am.
Ooh,
I'm
okay.
intrigued.
Ooh, good. So, before we get into the situation, is what I'm going to call it, I do want to make it clear that I'm not sharing this to point fingers or to make anyone here the villain. I'm sharing this because these are valuable lessons, and it's here for anyone who has ever found themselves in a conflict with people they love, care about, whatever you want to call it, right?
Sure.
So I do want to say that first. So this is meant to empower, uplift, educate, and again, it's for my kids and to let people in a little bit. So the situation.
Okay. Let's hear
I'm trying
it.
to keep this light. Okay. So,
Yes.
okay. So, my daughter recently graduated, which is a huge milestone and a moment we were all excited to celebrate.
Of course.
School is
Congratulations.
not her thing. Thank you. Like, school was not her thing, you guys. So, trust me. Um, I remember having a conversation one time, and I don't know how she missed the mark on, like, oh no, it's not an option. You have to walk with a high school diploma on that
Sure.
stage, right? So it really was a moment we were truly excited to celebrate, okay? As everyone, but I'm just saying she gave us a hard time. And so she did turn it around on her senior year, and she really did kick butt and do well. And I'm just so happy
Amazing.
and proud of her, right?
Sure.
So, like many, graduations, there's limited tickets. We all know this, right? So she had
Mhm.
to make choices on who she wanted present on that day.
Sure.
And, the most important in her life right now. So, and that's another thing I would love to emphasize. Like I said, this whole year has been transformative for her. She has a girlfriend, a serious relationship, her day to day people. So for her, like, she only had 10 tickets, right? So we all know how that is. Okay. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
So, one of the things I always try to teach my children is that their voice matters, right? And their feelings matter and their boundaries matter. We all know I'm the queen of boundaries, and I really try to teach that with my kids.
Mhm. Sure.
You're following me so far?
I'm following you so
I
far.
just, I don't
Yeah.
want to be too long winded, but
No, no, no.
so let me just get to it. My daughter's grandmother was invited.
Okay.
Always, hands down, no question, grandma would be there. Okay. And although her grandma and I have not spoken in over a year,
Mhm.
and I did record an episode on that, go back and clock it. Um, But I truly believe that we could put our differences aside for the
Mhm.
sake of my daughter, her granddaughter.
Right.
And I really had that intention. Okay. So we only seen each other twice in the past year. It's been a little over a year. And she did her thing. I did my thing. There was nothing. Like, we can coexist. So unfortunately, despite my daughter expressing that she wanted her grandma there, she
Okay.
chose, you guys, not to attend.
Okay.
Okay. I can
Mm.
say more and I won't, but my
Okay.
daughter made it very clear that she was more than welcome. My daughter was not okay. She literally said, I'm not okay. I want you there. I have a ticket for you. And
Okay.
she chose not to go. So
Okay.
I'm going to take a pause there. How are
Okay.
we doing, Claudia?
Yeah, that's a
Any thoughts right now?
yeah, just well, I mean, the fact that you're first of all, you're celebrating it's really once in a lifetime
Yes.
occasion, right? You only graduate from high school one time. So
Mm-hmm.
for your daughter to be that emotionally mature to be able to say that to
Mm-hmm.
grandma, right? I have a ticket, it's reserved, no
Yes.
questions asked. You are
Yes.
more than welcome because this is a
Yes.
special occasion to me. Therefore, I would love for you to be there. And I think that shows a level of maturity, emotional maturity that, sometimes we struggle with, even as
Yes.
adults. So I commend her for that. Yeah.
100%. And, and I even told my daughter, like,
Mhm.
even though this wasn't a thing, I made it so clear to her when we were, saying the 10, right? And
Mhm.
I said, now, before we go down this list, please understand that this is, I'm not going to weigh in on who's there, who's not there, because, again, she has a girlfriend, there's parents involved, a sister, there's many other people. And although they're not close to us, they're close to my daughter. And so it's not about me. Do you know what I mean? And I don't have a lot of family here. So it really is whoever she wanted. So I made it clear that, please do not worry about me.
Right.
Whoever you want there is welcome there, and this is for you. So there was just no question, right?
Right.
So when I just think back to, granted, we've been going through this relationship for 20 something years, and we have disagreed before. And I feel people really, really know me. And I feel like, and I say they because I don't want to finger point, but they have shoved their culture and their beliefs and their traditions down my damn throat. And it has always been a balance. I've always had to balance what matters to me, how I live, what all those things, right?
Right.
And one thing they would always say is families first and nothing gets in between, all these things. And for me, when it came time for her to stand on that and stand that you're the grandma, family comes first, and this is what matters, and to show up for my daughter, and you
Right.
chose not to, like, I don't think this woman understands that it cut deep for my daughter and for me. And last year, I felt she made me feel, she didn't make my kids per se, but she made me feel that my kids were less than her other grandkids. And she made me feel what I believe in, what I stand on, what matters to me is less than. And I could, I mean, she didn't even give me a conversation, you know what I mean? And as much as it hurt, and I felt
Right.
like, okay, this is not okay, and I feel betrayed by you,
Sure.
that middle child syndrome, I just needed that acknowledgement,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely. Mhm.
she till this day has not given it to me. So for me, I just feel like I have nothing for you then, you know what I mean? So now, hello, fast forward a year later, you're now doing this to me a second time.
Right.
And this is not indirectly like last year, because last year was indirect. This year is directly to my daughter and to my daughter's face. My
Right.
daughter respected you, took you out to eat, and
Right.
told you that you're more than welcome.
Right.
Now, another side of this is that there was another person my daughter chose not to invite because of a previous experience that she had that had impacted her. Okay. She
Okay.
felt strongly that on that day, centered around her achievements, she wanted to protect her peace and not have someone there. And
Right.
again, my courageous, brave little daughter
Mhm.
had a face to face conversation with her grandma and said, more or less, I don't want this person there. This is about me. And in the moment, grandma said the right words, like, of course, your wish will, be granted, whatever. She asked some questions about it. Um, my understanding of how they left off, everything was good. She was still coming. She did allude to or ask for, other tickets so that she can feel more comfortable, quote unquote. She needed emotional support to attend her daughter's graduation when she had one son there and another daughter that was supposed to be there. So I don't understand what emotional support she needed. It was not about her. It was at a big ass stadium. The woman could have sat anywhere. Again, not about you, lady. This is about your granddaughter, my daughter, your son's daughter. Like, come on, right?
Right. And celebrating a special day that happens once in a lifetime.
Right? Yes. Put that stuff aside. Okay. Right. So I honestly, since there has been clearly no conversations, I honestly don't know. I'm sure for her, she has her side, she has her feelings, and I don't know how, but if this woman is somehow feelings are hurt, it is not known to us, but she knows how we feel. So, with that said, it doesn't matter. Like, I just don't get that. And, I have shared on this podcast before with other episodes, how dysfunctional my blood family is and how blood is not thicker than water. And I preach that all the time. Right. These people know how I have turned the light switch off, is what I say. It's like a light switch with me. Once you reach a certain place with me, like, it's like a light switch. I'm done. I can't go back. Right. So, she knows my sister has dismissed my kids. And let me tell you, it's been 6 years, you guys. I have not spoken to my sister because you don't get to dismiss my kids. Okay. Right. So she knows this. So I'm dealing with someone that knows me and I know her. Okay. So it's just unfortunate. I don't know what impact Evie requesting a certain individual not to be there. I don't know what impact that had, but I will say, to me, I do believe some family members were unhappy about that, and they decided ultimately not to go, even though they had originally said yes, they would go. But before they knew she didn't want that person to go. Sure. So while everyone is entitled to their feelings, right? Okay. You're entitled to it, but it made me think about their larger question, and that's what puzzles me. How do you handle a situation when your emotions are coddled with someone else's boundaries?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough question, because I think when someone is that enmeshed, right? So you're so involved and so caught up in your own emotions, right? That you can't see outside of that, right? And when you can't see outside of that, there's no possibility for you to even take a step back, right? And reflect, do a lot of self-reflection to figure out, okay, what part do I have to do with this happening? Which then ties into not taking responsibility, right? Yeah. Not seeing past that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? And, emotions are valid. I can understand that they're like, wait, what? You feel that way, right. But they can't always lead your decisions. Correct. You guys. Do you know what I mean? So I would love for people to learn one lesson that I have learned. And that emotions are real, but they shouldn't always be the driver's seat. And I posted this, right. It's like, being hurt is real. Being disappointed is real. Feeling left out is real. Feeling misunderstood is real. But again, she had the courage to sit in front of her and tell her, this is where I stand. This is what I feel. And this is what I want. Sure. Why couldn't she be given that same respect? Because then the next day, so the day that my daughter found out that most likely grandma may not go, the next day that those other family members I'm talking about, felt it was okay to text me and my daughter to say, thank you so much, but unfortunately we can't make it, and it's like, okay, my daughter just got shitted on yesterday, and you feel a week and a half before her celebration, it's necessary the very next day to say that to her. Like, you just now shitted on her again. Right. Like, the timing of it. So clearly that was an impulse to me. Like, that spoke volumes. You feel the need to give my daughter that news again, or, give news like that on the day after she just had a back and forth with her grandmother. And she's made it very clear, literally said, I am not okay. And you felt like, why? So are you taking sides here? Like, this is not about sides. And I promise you, I can understand feeling left out, feeling, what you feel about that situation. You're entitled, honey, but handle it right. And this is where I'm saying the emotional intelligence comes into this, like, that is what bothers me. So emotional maturity requires us to pause. Right. And ask ourselves whether we're reacting from an emotion or responding with intention.
Right. Right. And also, thinking about that, because what happens, I'm thinking, right, typically when we have a hard time looking outside of our emotions is really doing a lot of self-reflection. And when you realize that you may potentially be a cause of this disruption that's happening, your ego kicks in, right?
It does.
And it's this fear of feeling vulnerable. It's a fear of really sitting in with that, honing in on, why am I reacting this way?
Yes.
Right? Because you can't, I can't take responsibility, let alone say it out loud and tell someone I'm truly sorry, but I can't be the more mature person here. You know what I mean? So you have to, at some point, deviate, right? Or what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of not pay attention to that, or not take into account, and rather just, again, making it about you, right?
Yeah, because they're focusing on their hurt, right? And losing sight of the bigger picture, right?
Exactly.
So in this situation, the bigger picture should have been, this young woman is celebrating an incredible achievement. Why couldn't that be your focus?
Mm-hmm.
And again, you have the right to choose to change your mind and not come. But give us that respect. And that's the thing. It's like, you guys know, your mother and I just for a whole year have not spoke because of a similar situation, and how I've made it so clear, like, respect goes two ways. You want me to honor you, you want me to value that, then honey, value what matters to me. Do you know what I mean? Sure. And it's like, it's just not, so emotional intelligence is bigger than self-awareness. And I would love for these people to self-reflect, but people often think that emotional intelligence means understanding your own feelings, but it's so much more than that.
Absolutely.
It's the ability to recognize other people's experience and perspective that may differ from yours. And I promise you, I do reflect on that.
Right. And that makes you, I think, more of a wholesome person to understand that. I think when you get to that place where you remove yourself from the equation and tell yourself, this is not personal, this is not about me, that I need to focus on the why. If I have this young lady who approaches me and says, hey, can you be part of the special day, despite of the fact of everything else that's gone on in the past year or two, I mean, I think that speaks volumes, right?
Yeah.
And again, put that aside.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Why can't you try to understand the perspective, even if you don't agree with it? And like I'm saying, I'm telling you, I get it. I know it's not easy to hear someone's not welcome, but you, in my opinion, should have took that as a teachable, learnable moment and tell someone, hey, there's consequences to our actions.
Sure.
And this is a consequence to the actions of the fallout, and we have to respect her space, her healing process, whatever it is that she feels and she wants, you know what I mean? So think about what she's feeling, try to see what's trying to be communicated, what's being expressed, again, instead of so understanding someone isn't the same thing as agreeing with them, and I would love for them to try to do that, but it creates, if you do that, if you can try to understand someone's perspective,
right,
it can begin to create some space for compassion.
Sure. Absolutely. And without the compassion, it's going to be very difficult to ever try to see somebody else's perspective.
Yes.
Right? And you're always going to probably internalize it and personalize it and make it about me. And then it just creates additional barriers that are not
Yeah. And and
right.
and I wondered like, wow, are they taking this as an attack? Because honestly, it's not. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. When she came to me and said, because I had told her, what do you want? Do you want a barbecue? Like, what do you want to do? Right. Because we did a barbecue for her. Um, and then she said, okay, like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll do it, whatever. And then she says, but she wanted to pick the guest list, all that, right?
Yeah.
And so when she says, I don't want that person there, I was like, oh God, here we go. That's gonna create some BS, right? And I said it to her, and she
Sure.
says, I understand that it might, but I strongly feel this way, and this is my boundary. It's not meant to be a punishment. Again, not verbatim, but that's what she meant,
Sure.
right?
More or less.
So one thing I wish more people would understand is that boundaries are often interpreted as rejection,
Mm-hmm.
but
Very true.
boundaries are not always saying that. It
Right.
doesn't always say, I don't care about you. Like, it's
Right.
not saying the things that you're saying. Sometimes they're saying, this is what I need to feel safe. This
Right.
is what I need to feel peace. This is
Right.
what I need to feel joy in this moment. And so clearly she felt those things, like she felt
Right.
that's what she needed, right? So my daughter wasn't trying to punish anyone. She was
Right.
just trying to create an environment where she felt comfortable on the day that belonged to her. Whether
Yes.
people agree with that, her decision, it's
Right.
still her decision to make. And one thing I can tell you, since she was smaller, I would always tell her, okay, that's the choice you want to make, well, understand. Then like when the whole thing about sharing toys,
Sure.
I was never that mother, and I think I've shared this before.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Mm-hmm.
not make my daughter share.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
I would tell
remember you
her that she
mentioning that.
should, but I
Right.
didn't make her. I would tell her, you understand that there's consequences, and literally a year and a half, and I'm telling her, like, Evie, like, okay, they may not want to play with you. And she looked at me like, I'm okay playing by myself. I want to play with my toy, but whatever, whatever, right? I've always taught my daughter, okay, then deal with what comes after that. Do you know what I mean? And
Right.
so I'm not gonna lie, when I was like, God, here I go rearing, I felt like I saw me in her, but I promise you it wasn't me. And where I'm at in life right now, like, I honestly think the person wouldn't have showed, but it was her choice.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so, I mean, I'm only respecting my daughter. And again, this is not about sides. This is not about, you know, I kind of feel like and again, I have not spoken to these people, so I don't know, but I kind of feel like, are you trying to make a point? Because in all honesty, with respectfully, you're making the wrong point, because you're telling my daughter that what she feels does not matter.
Does not
And,
matter. Mhm.
that person that she had an experience with, you know, I feel you're sending that person the wrong message as well.
Right. I
And
agree.
I don't know how you expect that person to learn that this is life and things happen, and
Sure.
our decisions, our actions follow us. And
Absolutely.
so I'm quick to tell my kids this, you guys. And so I say this, when I say this, I say it with love.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you're entitled to that, but you should have had that conversation face to face.
Right.
I shouldn't have received this whack ass text message, and I'll say that again if you need to hear that, that shouldn't have been sent to me and my daughter. That was just obviously an impulse and unnecessary. And so, but anyways, okay. So before I go on to like talk about other things, to talk about my convictions here, without hurting feelings, I'm really trying not to. So,
Right.
by the way, to close the loop, the graduation day comes. And clearly, we're recording and talking about this, you guys, because guess what? Shocker! Grandma did not show. Grandma
Okay.
did not call. Grandma did not communicate with her son or her granddaughter. So, in the evening, after we enjoyed ourselves, had our dinner, we already had discussed how we would move if that happened.
Okay.
Now, I'm gonna be very clear here. My daughter has her own opinions and feelings. Her son has her own opinion and feelings. I have my own opinions and feelings.
Right.
And the hurt that we have is different because she's a mother to one, a grandmother to another, and, an in law to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we all have our different relationships with her. So the impact is different, everything. And I have tried very hard not to taint either of their ears with my feelings, with how I am, how I react. And I made it very clear to both of them separately. Look, you need to figure out how you want to handle this and move forward. And however you choose to, I support it. And that's what I expect in return.
Right.
And I told my daughter specifically, don't be like me, be better than me, and don't cut people out, don't cut people off. Go have that difficult conversation, go figure that out and let it be. I know that I've been quick to shut people out, but those people I've had history, like long, like this is her unfortunately, she's starting her young adulthood and this is her first experience, you guys, going into being a young adult, making decisions that she has to live with. Do you understand? Like, I just don't understand how these people don't see the gravity of this. Okay. And so I want to make that clear. And I was going to say something else I forgot. But so I will say this to close the loop. I text that woman and said, you do not get to dismiss my kids and make them feel less than. And for that, you are no longer welcome to her celebration. Whether you want to go or not, I can care. I don't care if you want to go or not. I didn't say that part, but I'm telling you guys. But I told her whether you want to go or not. Okay. Now, I do know that she saw the message. And guess what? After that, I blocked her. Okay. Because there's nothing to say here and I can care less in the moment what you have to think, what you have to say. In all honesty, the woman probably ignored me, in all honesty. And I don't care, but guess what? Yeah. I didn't give you that opportunity to ignore me or to respond to me, okay? Sure. So you don't get to do that. You don't get to dismiss my kids, make them feel less than, and then come play in my face on Sunday at her barbecue. Hell no. Now, if I'm going to make a big deal about a birthday celebration, you don't think I might make a big deal about this?
Absolutely. You have every right to.
So I'm curious what people think, but this is clearly me protecting myself, me creating my boundaries and knowing my self-worth and how, I want to be handled and how I want my kids to be handled. And I'm a firm believer in if you let people treat you away, they will.
Yeah. So it kind of comes back full circle what you were saying earlier, how that's why, Queen of Boundaries is so important and so relevant. And I know you know this, but your daughter implementing probably for the very first time, very strong-willed, willing fully a set of boundaries, because this is all the modeling that you've provided to her, right? Which is really neat. And you've really, wow, it just take a seat back, I hope, and you're able to reflect on that and saying, wow, my daughter has done everything I've taught her in a very respectful way.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I hope so. That's great. Oh, I love it. Let me tell you. Yes, I do. But I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of like, oh God, there I go. When she reacted that way, I'm like, but I mean, I'm not saying she's not built for it, but you have to understand my life circumstances made me this way. Right. Sure. So to your point, she's just obviously learning from me. Yes. And I hope she's learning all the great things, so I appreciate you saying that, and I want her to learn, and I want people to learn, you guys. Like, my breakaway tip is standing on your conviction. I want you to stand on your convictions without hurting others, right? And I know that's not always possible, but I think that's where we all struggle, right? So we often think that there's only two choices. Either you give in and keep everyone happy, or you stand firm and hurt people in the process. But there is a third option as far as I'm concerned, okay? You can stand on your convictions while still treating people with dignity. And that's the part, Claudia, that doesn't sit well with me, is that these people did not once, but twice, not treat me and my kids with dignity. That's how I feel. Okay. Sure. So you can be firm without being cruel, and we're not being cruel. Okay. Right. You can disagree without being disrespectful. We have not been disrespectful. You can honor your needs without attacking someone else's worth. You did that with your silence. You did that with not showing up. Right. As far as I'm concerned. Right. So that balance takes practice. but it's one of the most important skills you can develop. And this is the main reason, Claudia, why I wanted to have this episode and talk about it. And
Right.
I didn't want to hold back, but clearly I am a little bit. And it's because I want people to understand there is a third way. There
Sure.
is another way. You know what I mean?
Right. That's I think you said it perfectly, Don. I really think that this is very a good lessons learned conversation, right? Because we take from every experience and put away what works for potential next times and let go of those things that we know, okay, that didn't quite well work with me or my circumstances. But I think that, you know, honoring and respecting what you feel, and as a parent, you're modeling this skill set. And like you said, I think very maturely and respectfully, you said to each entity involved here, like you're going to handle your own way of managing this situation and
Yeah.
circumstance, because that is
Yeah.
the truth. And I respect you for that. I think that's
Thank
very
you.
mature.
And I really do try to reflect. And, you have to know, like, I need the world to know. I do look inward and I know I am a force to be reckoned. Let me tell you, I know I'm very particular, and to know me is truly to love me, but there's no maliciousness here. Like, I have nothing but light and love. But because of my childhood, and again, that's a trigger for me to figure out. That's something I know I have to work on, you guys.
Sure.
But one thing I know about myself is that when I'm hurt, I'm quick to close the door. Like I said
Mhm.
earlier,
Mhm.
right? I can be quick to distance myself from people, right?
Right.
That's a survival mechanism. I told you guys that I developed, through my own life experiences, right? But
Right.
I'm going to say it again. I told my daughter to be different. I told her she doesn't have to handle things the way I do. She should feel whatever she feels. She should process it honestly. But I want her decisions to come from a place of peace and not anger. And I told her that, and I want her to carry herself like forward, like, how do I say that, like, what I told her I wanted her to carry every wound forward or whatever, like, don't get
Right.
stuck in it, right, like
Right.
like
Right.
this might
Don't let
hurt
it
you.
just,
Yeah,
right.
but you got to move forward, my dear,
Right.
and I want you to learn discernment, and that
Right.
is, whoo,
Mhm. Yeah.
that if you can learn discernment,
More
you're
power
good,
to
girl,
you. That's
you are
amazing.
good.
You will make it.
I just had to say that again because I wanted to be clear. You know what I mean? Like, this is all her feelings, what she feels. And I'm there just to support her and validate her. And, this is not about anything else. So, for anyone navigating family conflict, right? If you're dealing with family conflict right now, I encourage you to ask yourself, are you ready? Am I responding to facts or assumption?
Mm.
Am I prioritizing my feelings over the purpose in the moment of the moment? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
think about that, right? Can I understand someone else's perspective without agreeing with it? Like, that's a big one. Am I standing on my convictions with integrity? Because let me tell you, how I am to your face, I'm the same way behind your back, and how I am vice versa. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
anyways,
There's no hidden codes there.
is my reaction creating more healing or more division? And I can tell you, that's in the beginning when I had told my daughter, because I had that question too. I'm like, okay, this might cause some BS. And that's why I told her, are you sure? Like, so ask yourself. I asked her in a way, the same way, like, is this causing more healing for you or more division? Like,
Right.
but she has that right to make that decision, you guys. And guess what? She has to move forward with this too. Do you know what I mean? This is not a one-sided thing. Like, she
Right.
stood strong, and she's gonna have to deal with whatever that comes with it, right?
Right.
So these things are not gonna solve every conflict, but they can help you stay grounded.
Right.
And that's what I want for
Wow.
everyone.
What a great message. Great
Mm.
message. And those pointers that you gave, because we all know that sometimes you feel, wow, not that you're the only one going through this, but sometimes you hope that all of this message that you sent today, it really hits home for some, and that maybe someone else can take from it, and learn to make adjustments, right? Because life is not
Yeah.
easy.
And if anyone that is aware of this situation, they can actually come here and hear me and not interrupt me. They can hear my, where I stand on this, how I feel, but ultimately this is for my kids. And if there's one thing I want my children to know, and honestly anyone that's listening to take away from this episode, is that you don't have to abandon yourself to keep the peace. I'm sorry, you don't have to abandon yourself to keep the peace. But you also don't have to abandon compassion because you're hurt, you see? Right. You have to protect your peace, honor your boundaries, stand firm in your convictions, but whenever possible, leave the room with grace, understanding, and humility. And this is what I felt my daughter did that day. Okay. And unfortunately, I don't feel it backfired, because can I tell you, when I woke up the next morning after my daughter told me about the conversation, you guys, I'm not even lying, I was on level 100, 0 to 100. I was on 100, because it's like, again, this is happening. Same person,
right?
Different child. Like, this is crazy, right? And right. I woke up with such peace. Like, I felt like God gave me peace, because when people show you who they are, you have to receive it. And Absolutely. I just felt like this whole year of silence, this whole year of division, I truly felt validated in that moment. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, if you can do that to my kid. Now, remember, last year was indirect. This was directly to my daughter.
Right.
If you can do that, like, seriously, I'm good on you. I'm sure. Like, I'm good. Okay. And at the end of the day, the strongest people aren't the ones who always get their way.
That's right. That is right.
So, and they're not the ones who can hold the truth without losing their heart either. Mm-hmm. I hope I'm making that sense, but it's for my kids to know that, at the end of the day, the strongest people aren't the ones who always get their way. I don't always get my way.
Right.
So I just need people to know that and understand that. And I really, really hope that this does help someone, and I empower people to, keep the peace, within themselves. So we had the barbecue as a hit. It was really nice. And I gave a cute little speech. And when she came up, I said, I'm going to do my best to lead with love and kindness, because that's what I want you to do. Mm-hmm. I want you to always lead with love and kindness. And I hope and pray that you find the joy in life and you give it, because for me, that's what it's about. I told her, people are always going to have opinions. People are going to tell you what you should and should not be doing. But at the end of the day, this is your one life and you need to live it. And as I've told you before, I'm going to tell you again, you are Evie and no one puts you in a box, girl. Don't let anyone put you in a box. Girl, people were crying, her Aww. Dad was like in tears. It was so cute, but like, I told her, like, beautiful. I mean, I want my kids to be successful. Like, yeah. I'm not, like I told you, school's not her thing, you guys. She has a path forward. And so I did say that too. I said, I want you to have a direction. Because I won't accept floating. Because right. if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a direction, you're going to float, and that's not going to get you anywhere. So right. I've made that clear. I'm not that parent that, again, I instill or like force onto them what I think and right. what I want for them. Your and agenda. I had to accept a long time ago, you guys, and I need the world to hear this. My kids are not me. They're not like me. And I don't expect them to be like me. I had to grow up fast. I had to figure it out. And God was good. God is good. Like, he was with me the whole way. And, I surpassed my expectations for myself, and I'm not done. I am not done, you guys. Don't sleep on me. But anyways, so I will say with the kids, like, I had to give that up, and all I can do is try to pour into them the tools that they need. Right. Do you know what I mean? To survive in this world. Absolutely. And honestly, I'm concerned, because this world concerns me in the direction we're going. And what I was able to do with my minimum wage 20 years ago, 25 years ago, these kids can't do that this day. Right. You know what I mean? And when you think about that, like, there's just so much more bigger issues in life. And it's just so sad that this is how they chose to, again, have my daughter start her new chapter. And I
Right.
really hope that sinks in with them. And I need them to understand that, we're only hurt here
Mm-hmm.
and we're acting on our hurt. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And guess what? If we're so not aware and it was not our intentions, but I will tell you, I believe both of your intentions were intentional and they were not pure hearted. They did not lead with kindness or peace.
Right. Yes.
And on that note, keep pushing, keep shining, keep thriving.